Yo, what is going on, guys? Frankietrades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps the algorithm out and help push my channel out there more for the audience to see and anybody new coming to the page. So, with that much more being said, we can go ahead and get started. Just a little bit of heads up though, there isn't too much going on as far as earnings go, as you can clearly see. And as far as the watch list goes, not too much going on, but I have some of the best setups in the market right now, so stay tuned and see what I got. But yeah, looking at the screen right now, you guys can see that there is not much going on with earnings. The only stock that I could possibly be watching for an after earnings move is FedEx. FedEx does have some interesting moves after earnings. I haven't looked at it at all or looked at it or given it like the slight of chance yet from yesterday charting with the students at stock hours, but I will be looking at that closely after earnings on Thursday going into Friday. Now, obviously, there's a lot of risk with that because it is after earnings and it is a Friday move, but depending where that moves or where it's at, if there's any relevance with any sort of consolidation or anything like that, then I'll be taking a closer look at it, but for the meantime, not on my radar. So and of course, your guys' favorite part of the watch list is what we actually got going on here. So, first things first, before we talk about Tesla, as you guys can see, I had it on my screen there, is our indexes. This is always going to come first before looking at any other stock, so we get a good idea of where the market's currently at or where it could be headed. So, looking at NQ here on the 4-hour time frame, there really isn't too much going on. I don't have any big trend lines, anything to really worry about, but the thing I do want to know with NQ compared to ES is that ES is further ahead as far as getting to the all-time high levels again. You know, NQ being roughly 1,000 points or maybe a little bit more than that away from all-time highs isn't the biggest issue, but it is something to note in comparing it to other stocks like maybe Meta, Google. Google's one I talked about yesterday with the students and why that isn't on the radar, but things like that, right? But as far as NQ goes, as far as important levels, the only one I have is 19,700 here. You guys can see that we currently have a flat top level at that area as of right now. So after 19,700, I really don't have anything till 20,000. So that's realistically all I'm watching on NQ and see what kind of reaction we get, either above, below. If we hold above, what will happen? If we hold below or reject, what will happen with the market? That kind of stuff, especially with elections coming up right around the corner here in like a month or 2 months roughly. So it's going to be pretty important to see where the market's going to be headed and what it's going to be doing, especially along with the whole Fed rate hike or spike up or spike down with whatever they're doing with that. So it's predicted to be a 0.5%, I believe, not 1 point, but I believe a 0.5 point. I think that is what is expected. So we'll have to wait and see with that and see how that is going to react. So. Next up is ES, the other important index, which is the S&P 500. Only ES is the futures for this. So as far as ES goes, you can see the all-time high is 5720. We're currently at 5626. So 100 points away as compared to NQ, roughly 1,000. What is it? 1,000, 10,000 points away, whatever it is. I know it's 1,000 points. 10,000 points would be insane. Yeah, it's 1,000 points roughly. So. But yeah, as far as ES goes, the only important levels that I have going forward on this, you can see this is all chop. From 5,600 all the way up to 5,660, you can see it is completely and entirely all chop. So I will not be paying attention to any of this. Maybe if we get a hold below 5,600 for some downside, or, this is the key part with this, is the upside. We saw that ES had struggled to get anything or a strong close above 5660, and then we actually have a flat top across 5670. So my plan with ES is not to trade it because I don't trade futures, so I have no experience with that, even with SPY or QQQ, so it's not my idea to trade it, but it is my place to see where it's at and how it's moving. So I'll be looking at any sort of hold above 5660, and then if we get above 5670, that'll give me the confirmation that we could get more upside here in the market going forward this week. So not too much going on, no trend lines that I have on this either, so pretty straightforward with these indexes. So, and then of course the main watch list, which is what everyone wants to look at. So as far as Meta goes, it is part of my main watch list. It is a little alright. It's enough for me to have it on my main watch list just because on how Meta moves and how close it is to all-time highs. Relative to the market. So it's all moving relative to each other. Of course, some days it has a strong divergence to the market. Some other days it's weak to the market, We like to play it both ways. It just depends on what kind of setup it's setting up around. So as far as Meta goes, I am looking at the flat top across 528 here on the 30-minute. You can only see this on the 30-minute as well. But you can see how clean this flat top is. looking at this at 528 with room up to 530. Now, a lot of people would argue that 530 is a choppy area, but based on the setup that it's currently developing and the way that Meta likes to move, especially days that it has a strong divergence, this could be a good play to keep an eye out for. So that is Meta. Next up is Netflix here. If I put Netflix in the 4 hour, you guys will see what I'm talking about here, especially with the ones from Stock Hours who attended the charting session yesterday that we do every Saturday and Wednesday. You can see here, Netflix is also setting up near all-time highs. As of right now, $15 to $16 away from the actual all-time high at 7-Eleven, not the gas station, but the stock. I am looking at this at 704, potentially 700 even, maybe 700, and riding that all the way to 704 on that. So it is a pretty big setup. It is something I'm going to keep an eye out for, especially with how and what kind of reaction we get at 700. The only reason why I'm kind of hesitant on 700 is how choppy it has been around there. And the times that I have seen it play around 700, it's a pretty not clean breakout every single time we play around it. So that's going to be the setup on Netflix. After 700, I will be looking at 704. After 704, the next play that I would look to take is the all-time high, either at 7-Eleven or maybe take it at 710 to get any sort of momentum play right there. So and last but not least is my favorite setup for the entire week here. This will be the biggest setup for a while, I believe, that has been setting up. So before I go on the 4 hour, you can see it on the 4 hour and the daily, you can see that we actually have a flat top across 235. I'll go into why 235 and not 236 for anybody who's looking at the smaller time frames, and I'll explain why. But you can see that we currently have roughly a $10 gap on Tesla and the flat top at 235. So 235 is obviously the psychological level that everyone's going to be looking at. It's the key level as well that everyone's going to be keeping an eye out for. If I go to the 1 hour or the 30-minute, you guys will see, well, Frankie, why don't you have 236? Because it broke pre-market. I don't count pre-market levels towards my gaps since it's not during market hours. So that's the reason why I am counting 235 and not 236 as to where the gap starts. So, but yeah, that's essentially all the setup is. It's a really simple setup. It's a consolidation break. It's a flat top break. It's a gap level break. All falls under my foundation of what an A+ setup is to me. An A+ setup can be anything to anybody else. It can be some sort of head and shoulders pattern. It could be a bat wing pattern, whatever fancy names you guys have for patterns nowadays. This is my definition of an A+ setup for me, that I would take full size. It doesn't mean I would go full port. Now, let me make that clear. I will not take this full port, but I will go in with my full size that I am super confident on, so I can execute this at my very best, just based on how good this setup looks as of right now. So things can change throughout the week, though. It can always come back down to 215, 220. This can gap over and we can miss it. Who knows, right? Our job is to know where the stock is currently at, where the real setup is, and execute if it comes our way. So, but yeah, that is it for the watch list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Before you leave, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. I try to give you guys the best setups, like you guys know it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you guys have a safe week and good weekend. So, peace out.